Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness. Day 211 of 365, 7 months, point one. And you're with David McDonald, the GOAT. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Tea is actually really good for you. I'll see you guys on the other side. Let's get into this meditation. All right. All right, my friends, welcome back. John, good morning. Love you too. Good to see you. Auntie, good morning. Good morning. All right. So we're going to continue on with our reading routine here. We just finished our meditation routine. If you guys have any questions regarding that, please let me know. We're reading Eckhart Tolle's The New Earth. And I will see you guys on the other side. Mm. Mm. All right, my friends, welcome back. And we are getting ready to move into our journaling routine. We just finished our reading routine. In our journaling routine, I like to start off by writing about what I'm most grateful for everybody who's joining us for the first time. And the thing I'm most grateful for in the morning is waking up and being in perfect health. And then I go back and I show my gratitude and my respects to yesterday's events. So everything that life blessed me with yesterday, every experience, I go back and I honor it. And if there's something I learned, then I take from it and I write about it. Um, and then anything moving forward that I wish to manifest for myself, I go ahead and I write those things down too. Get the thoughts out of my mind and down on paper. Very helpful tool when you're trying to keep track of everything going on in your life, and when you have dreams to be bigger and better than where you currently are. So if you have any questions about that, let me know, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, welcome back. So yesterday in our book, we talked about, good morning, Eric. How's it going? Amanda, good morning, good morning. So yesterday we talked about holding grievances against people. So like grudges and pretty much allowing yourself to allow negative energy to disrupt your flow. And uh, what the power of that does of letting go and pretty much letting that baggage go. So being right and making wrong. So right now what we're doing, or during this segment of the book, at least how I would summarize it, is we're figuring out what are some of the main triggers, or what does it look like to live an egoic life, and operating and stemming from the ego, what that looks like in terms of examples, and then the language behind it. So let's see if we can provide some more interpretation based off of different scenarios. So being right and making wrong. It may not be immediately apparent how complaining, say about a traffic jam, politicians, about the greedy, wealthy, or the lazy, unemployed, or your colleagues or ex-spouse, men or women, can give you a sense of superiority. Here's why. When you complain, by implication, you are right, and the person of the situation or situation you complain about or react against is wrong. So, in summary of what we talked about yesterday, the ego tries to find and latch on to, things that identify with I, or thoughts, you being right, the other person being wrong. And so when you're living a spiritually guided life, we talked about yesterday, you can be on a higher spiritual vibration than other people, but you got to have a check and balances so that you don't get so high that you're like, oh, well, I am more spiritual than you, because the ego needs something to feast on. We all have an ego. So yesterday we covered, how we recognize the ego, and then pretty much how do we keep a checks and balance system based off of like how we operate, either spiritually or physically. Now, there is nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. Being right is identification with a mental position. You need to make others wrong in order to get a stronger sense of self, a stronger sense of who you are. Not only a person, but also a situation can be made wrong through complaining and reactivity, which always implies that this should not be happening. Being right places you in a position of imagined moral superiority in relation to the person or situation being judged and found wanting. It is that sense of superiority that the ego craves, and through which it enhances itself. So, recognizing that the ego is ever so present and living within us weakens it, right? And then we're able to control our responses and pretty much change the dynamic of discussion or situations and experiences. Um, one of the greatest tools, one of the greatest realizations that came to in my life is that we can agree to disagree. So you might have an opinion about something, I have an opinion about something, and in a previous life, I would say, oh, well, I want you to see it this way. I really, really want you to see it this way. And you're like, no, I want you to see it this way. Do you see it this way? So we can agree to disagree on something and just continue on with the conversation. But a lot of the times, and you guys can try this out, say, test it out, have fun with it. Talk to somebody today that you're really close with and see like how far or how serious it really can get without ruining the relationship, right? Or being in some flurry of an argument. We can agree to disagree, and that is the safest way to get yourself out of any disagreement, right? And the smartest way. And it saves you so much time of being stressed out, because a lot of the time we try to battle and we want to be right so bad It gives us time to step away from the scenario and say, okay, we'll agree to disagree on this for now. Think about what it is that's being said. It's a perfect separation tool. I will agree to disagree with you. You're right. You think you're right. I think I'm right. We're done. We're done with this discussion. And I'm telling you, like, that has, like, the truckload of cement on my shoulders in terms of, dialogue or communication, all of that lifted, dropped on the ground. And when you say that, right, you're introducing an angle to someone most of the time where it's like, oh, that's really interesting. So we're not about to have this argument. No, we're not, because I don't want to argue with you. It's a wasted way to spend my energy. If you are simply stating, so in defense of an illusion, and I'll tell you what that means. If you say simply stating what you know to be true, the ego is not involved at all, because there is no identification. Identification with what? With mind and a mental position. Such identification, however, can easily creep in. If you find yourself saying, believe me, I know, or why do you never believe me, then the ego has already crept in. It is hiding in the little word me. So any statements, for anybody who's out there new, any statements having to deal with I, me, usually is stemming from an egoic place. And Eckhart's getting ready to go into the religious part of it, which I think is very interesting. But essentially, in this section, what he's talking about is you're in a defense of an illusion. So it's okay to state facts. Like, for example, light moves faster. What is it? Light moves faster than what was it? Let me see here. Oh, light travels faster than the sound, right? That's a fact. Scientifically, has been proven that light travels faster than sound. That's not really a personal opinion. And so I think what he's trying to say in this part of the book is you can have opinions on things, but it's not from the premise of being right or wrong. It's just from the premise of knowing it to be factually true. Usually when you're giving advice, like, consider where your advice is coming from, right? So this is self-building talk. So when you're giving yourself advice, know where that advice is coming from. Are you selfishly giving yourself advice or giving other people advice? Or are you factually giving other people advice? The thing about truth that everybody can bank on is that when you hear truth, your inner self aligns with it. Like, you inherently have a feeling. At least I can say I do. I inherently have a feeling. I think most people do too. Have a feeling of, I think, right? That's an egoic standpoint to make me feel right. But personally, I feel that I can align with truth. So if somebody's feeding me some BS, then I can feel it, I can sense it, but I don't judge it as that, right? I don't say that's BS, because there's no way for me to really know until I give them space to perform. And then if they perform and it turns out to be something else, then I can say, hey, I don't feel like you're being forthright with me, right? So that's being fair. And so my point here is that be mindful, and the way that we be mindful is by becoming more aligned and enlightened, by understanding who we are and from which position we're moving and projecting ourselves through life. The I feels diminished or offended because somebody doesn't believe what I said. No, the truth in any case needs no defense. So essentially, when you're giving advice, if you feel offended because somebody is not taking, this is very interesting, I just had a realization. If you're giving advice to someone and they don't take it and you get personally offended, it may be something stemmed from ego. The truth needs no defense, which is pretty much the truth is, usually when you see the truth, people can align with that truth, so therefore there's no need for explanation. And every ego confuses opinions and viewpoints with facts. Furthermore, it cannot tell the difference between an event and its reaction to that event. Ego is disconnected from emotion. Every ego is a master of selective perception and distorted interpretation. So, only through awareness, not through thinking, can you differentiate fact and opinion. So, ego is shaped by our experiences and our perception on life. But the thing is when you live your life in the breadth of, or you stem from a place of love, support, and non-judgment, a number of other um, a number of other descriptive positive words, then because that's the I think because one of the universal concepts is that inherently everyone has love stemmed deeply within them, and that is our creation. That is the power of the universe. That is the power of God, right? The universe is all love, and it's all love, whether it's tough love or good love. But at the end of the day, it'll give you what you want. You just have to ask for it in the right way. God is nothing but love, and God lives within us. So therefore, we are. And so my point here is that when you live from that standpoint, which is, taking your foot off the gas when somebody's offending you, verbally assaulting you, you turn your cheek and you brush it off your shoulder, you continue moving on rather than succumbing to the societal dysfunction of, firing back or cussing back at the person who's offending you and your fiance or your significant other or boyfriend or girlfriend. So taking that higher road stems from being emotionally balanced and living from a standpoint of love, giving the person the benefit of the doubt and being able to transcend above the egoic feeling of offense that you feel when in certain situations. Hopefully that makes sense. But if the belief I am right and you are wrong is one of the ways in which ego strengthens itself, if making yourself right and others wrong is a mental dysfunction that perpetuates separation and conflict between human beings, does that mean there's no such thing as right or wrong behavior, action, or belief? And wouldn't that be the moral relativism that some of the contemporary Christian teachings as great see, excuse me, some of the, and wouldn't that be the moral relativism that some contemporary Christian teachings see as the great evil of our times? That there is no right, that there is no wrong, right? The history of Christianity, of course, is a prime example of how the belief that you are in sole possession of the truth, that is to say, right, can corrupt your actions and behavior to the point of insanity. For centuries, torturing and burning people alive if their opinion diverged from the slightest the truth doctrine or narrow interpretations of scripture, the truth was considered right because victims were wrong. So millions of people have died based off of religion, right? But the thing is, that's funny to me personally, that I feel about religion, is that every book is saying the same thing, just in a different breath, with a little bit different twist. Who came first in order. But when you look at everything from the very, very base of what's being taught, it's to love your neighbor, it's to love yourself, it's to know that Christ is within you, so therefore you are Christ. It's to know a number of things, okay? So this section of the book says specifically that if Christianity or any other religion is used to divide and slaughter because people don't align with the truth of interpretation, which interpretation is a collective conglomerate of thoughts which stem from an egoic personality rather than a transcendent spiritual personality, then that interpretation or the use of those religious teachings is coming from an egoic perspective, which is not obviously it's not very fair, because you're killing people because they're not believing in your truth, right? Rather than allowing people to choose their own truth. Now, used in such a way, religion becomes ideology and creates an illusory sense of superiority, as well as division and conflict between people. In the service of the truth, religious teachings represent signposts or maps left behind by awakened humans to assist you in spiritual awakening. That is to say, in becoming free of identification with form. There is only one absolute truth, and all other truths emanate from it. When you find that truth, your actions will be in alignment with it. So universally, we are blessed with the ability to recognize truths, because it all lives within us, whether we identify with it or not. The truth is inseparable from who you are. There you go. Yes, you are the truth. If you look for it elsewhere, you will be deceived every single time. The point here is that the truth is not out there, okay? The truth is within you. So especially when you're, I know a lot of us, or a lot of people are looking for like what their life purpose is. All of that information is found in one box, and that box is you. So you have the key to your own box, and how and when you decide to unlock that is totally up to you. And inside of that box, when you open it and you pull the lid open, there is an ember of energy and a couple different routes that you can choose. That ember of energy is all giving life, power, given to us from the universe and God, or God, depending on how you define it, to produce and create a reality for ourselves imaginable only in our own minds. Not to be predicated, not to be maneuvered, not to be influenced by anyone else out there, outside, or who does not have a key to that box that is you. Now, you have two different roads that you can choose to live by: a physical or a spiritual. When you live in the spiritual, you transcend above the physical experience. So, what does that look like? You don't get offended as easily as you would if you were living just a physical experience. You are transcended above. Now, if somebody, when it comes to interpretation, is misunderstanding you, you come back down to the physical self, and then you explain, or you move in the space however you need to. But any other time other than that, you're floating. For example, I'm driving on the freeway yesterday, okay? And the one thing I think everybody should just be mindful of is when you're driving in the freeway or on the freeway, there's lines for a reason, okay? The only thing that's on my mind is I need to make sure I stay my butt inside of these lines. If anybody crosses over my line, they're wrong. So in mental preparation of being on the freeway driving 65, 70 miles per hour and having someone lightly swerve into your lane can be a very dangerous thing if you do not react the right way. Okay, the worst thing that can happen when you think about a car tapping your car, right? If they hit you pretty hard, then yeah, you're gonna need to correct. Okay, so if somebody comes, boom, hits you out the lane, you're gonna need to correct, right? But let's say somebody was to swerve over, really, and most people's reactions when they're out of bounds on the freeway, especially when driving, is to have an instant, oh my god, and they squirt, but they skirt like off to the side. That's really dangerous, because if you have somebody on your left side or on your right side, depending on which side the car is coming, you could swerve right into someone else, and you would be the guy really hitting someone, and then they go off into the median, and potentially worse. So my point here is, when I'm on the freeway, or when I'm driving, I feel like there aren't too many things that cause me to make a sudden movement. If I'm avoiding an accident, or if I'm avoiding something that's sudden, obviously, then it's a quick check to all my mirrors and then swerve. It's very interesting. So I was driving on the freeway yesterday, And I think that takes some level of awareness because you got to like mentally prepare. So I was driving on the freeway yesterday and I saw this truck. It was swerving, going like it was just swerving like in the middle of the day, like or 5 p.m. I'd say. And I was looking at my rearview mirrors, just kind of checking the flow of traffic, and I see right when I was coming down I-5 south, and I seen this car. It was I think it was a Camry. The truck was an Expedition, and it came and it swerved. Right, it swerved like it was coming. It was on ramping or coming onto the freeway, coming off the off ramp or on ramp, and then the truck was going straight, and it bounced back like he didn't see it, like the Camry didn't see the truck there. But this truck was driving like really interesting. This SUV driving up, and I'm driving on the phone. I have my AirPods in, right? And next thing you know, I feel the car is in my blind spot, and I had a little indicator on my side mirror, and I look to see if he's in my blind spot. Next thing you know, I hear right next to my mirror, I hear a boom like that, right? And I'm like, bro, I'm going 70 miles per hour on the freeway, and I'm just like driving. And I'm like, what was that? Like, he just hit my mirror. All right. I just keep driving. But it was interesting because at no moment was I like rattled. I wasn't rattled. The whoever was driving the truck, I took different actions after that, right? I didn't chase him down or anything, didn't risk my life, but I did take some actions after that just to, make sure he doesn't kill anybody that day, right? But my point here is that he hit my mirror on the freeway going 70 miles per hour. Now, in most instances, I mean, that would be very startling, but I feel like because I'm not, it's kind of like, I was more amazed rather than like frustrated or upset. Oh, I'm gonna go get this guy. It was just kind of like, all right, like it's not broken, what am I gonna do? My exit's right here, kind of thing, So I don't know. I think that evolution has come from just being internally balanced. So Jesus speaks about the innermost I am, the essence, identity of every man and woman, every life form, in fact. He speaks of the life that you are. Some Christian mystics have called it the Christ within. Some Buddhists call it Buddha nature. For Hindus, it's Atman, the indwelling God. So going back to our little treasure chest of magic, you have two things that are to take away. The treasure chest is within you. So you have the key to your own treasure chest, to your inner God. The moment that you mentally decide that you want to take your life and transcend to the spiritual side, you got to unlock that box. And when you unlock that box and you open it up, there's going to be tons of things to learn about yourself. Your personality. There's going to be baggage that you got to let go of. You don't have to do anything, but you're going to start getting into let me tell you some of the outcomes of unlocking your own box and getting in control of this ember. You'll never fail. That's the first thing. Secondly, your sense of awareness is going to skyrocket through the roof. When it comes to being like a valuable asset to not only yourself but people around you, your value goes up, and the love for yourself goes up. Your fear for outcomes or your fear for certain things goes down. Your confidence skyrockets. Your peace increases. Your health increases. Your spiritual reliability increases. Your consistency increases. There's a number of things that you get to tap into the moment that you decide, I'm going to take my key and unlock myself and start searching deeper into who I am. You become more enlightened. And so therefore, you're able to create more and more and more for yourself. You start to create the life that you only imagine. Bigger than life, larger than life, something that was never given to you, something that people would say you'll never achieve. all of that, anything that you wish to achieve. The moment you decide to unlock yourself with your key, you will be able to discover your life purpose even deeper than where you have already. So inner God within yourself is what you will tap into. The moment you tap into that, you have went from great to unstoppable, and then you just become even more and more and more unstoppable. And being in touch with it is your natural state, not some miraculous achievement. We are all blessed with this, but because of societal dysfunction and interpretation and guidance, they tell you, how dare you dream? Don't dream. You can't dream. You need to go to school for 16 years of your life and learn how to work. Be a worker, right? Thank you. I am a worker. But because we have entered into the realm of enlightenment, spiritual reliability, we are able to take that work ethic and that ideology, apply it to our own lives, and create something for ourselves. And that is something we have been blessed with, everyone, right? And that's the gift I would like to give to everyone out there, either increasing your awareness and or deepening your understanding of who you are to transcend higher, and or introducing you to the concept for the first time. So this is probably the most beautiful part of the book that I've read so far. And being in touch with it is your natural state, your inner God. Not some miraculous achievement. All your actions and relationships will reflect the oneness with all life that you sense deep within. This is love. This is love. Laws, commandments, rules, and regulations are necessary for those who are cut off from who they are, the truth within. So laws, commandments, and rules are used to help control people who are cut off to understanding who they are, which is love. We are love. And if we're expressing in any form other than love, then we have to check. And we have to check in with ourselves. We have to check in with how we're responding. If it's not stemming from love, then we have to go into our auto-correction phase. They prevent the worst excesses of the ego. And often they don't even do that. Love and do what you will, said St. Augustine. Words can't get much closer to the truth than that. And today, we will leave it there. So, happy Monday, everybody. I hope you all have the best day of your life. And feel free to read after me. This is our Journey to Greatness mantra. This is my life. I am aware. I take full responsibility for my reality and thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life, a life of wealth, love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived. And so it is. I love you guys. And thank you to everybody who jumped on our messenger board this morning. 7 months and counting. We have 5 left. And 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ha. Simple addition. I'm excited to see what's around the corner. I have some pretty cool ideas. I just need to get them into effect. But with that being said, I think we are at the time where we need to have another monthly gathering and check in with everybody. So allow me some time to really plan that and get it on the papers or on the books, and I'll let everybody know. Good morning to everybody who's at home and getting ready for work. I hope you all have the best day of your life. And I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m.